Now, what is resistance? Resistance is that yucky feeling that gives you the impression that what you want is not possible. It's that struggle feeling. It's that feeling that there's a wall between you and your goal. It is that voice inside of your head that tells you that what you want isn't possible, or that there's too many obstacles standing in the way, or that you'll never get there, or that you should just give up. All of those things are examples of resistance. And resistance is a very closed off feeling, like it feels almost like you're trapped in a box or stuck in a cage. It is this feeling of not having things being open to you or available to you or accessible to you. It is this feeling of struggle, basically, for a lack of better word. So you can identify if you have resistance if what you are trying to imagine feels almost like a lie, like you are kidding yourself, like you wouldn't be able to have this specific person, or you wouldn't be able to have this specific sum of money. Resistance is that I feel stuck. I feel trapped. I don't feel good. So it's so important to identify resistance and to effectively release it. Now, how do we release resistance? That's the million-dollar question. I am going to follow it up with focusing on the emotional state instead of your physical reality. This could be interpreted as ignoring your physical reality, but I don't like to necessarily say that, because that almost feels like you're saying that you are going to ignore everything and feel almost delusional. When you're saying, well, I'm just going to ignore everything around me, it almost feels like you're lying to yourself, and that doesn't feel good either, and that's really not effectively releasing resistance, because that still feels yucky. So basically, we're trying to create a better emotional state inside of us. We're trying to create a feeling of peace, a feeling of warmth, a feeling of love, a feeling of abundance, like everything is possible. Now, it's so important not to use the physical reality around you as cues for how you are supposed to feel. It's better to accept your current reality instead of rejecting it. Now, of course, you don't want the current limiting results of your current reality. Yes, I know that. But if you continue to reject it, you're going to continue to create this yucky feeling inside. So it's better to just accept it and say, you know what? This may not be the result I want right now, but the result I want is possible. It is possible for me to get there, and it is possible for me to get there quickly. I do not have to be waiting around years upon years to get to that point. I can, in fact, reach that point swiftly and with ease, and with it even being fun. So really base your emotional state on what you ideally would like, not what's currently around you. So many of us decide to feel defeated or disappointed, depending on our current results. Now, the current results are a product of old thinking, old energy that's in the past, that is currently displaying in the now. Now, you can have new results that do not include these current obstacles, but you have to base your emotional state on the ideal, what you would ideally like. Now, ideally, you would like these obstacles to be lifted. You want to make it to the goal. So you want to base your inner state on a sense of relaxation, a sense of openness, a sense of being able to access the experiences that you want, whether or not it's loving someone and being loved in return, or having a lot of money to be able to have wonderful travel experiences, or live in a beautiful home, or have a car, or have enough money for this or that, or to be able to give things to others. You want to feel all of these experiences as accessible and open. So you want to base your energy on what you would ideally like, not the current limitations around you. The current limitations around you are going to create a sense of resistance, a sense of yuckiness, a sense of, I don't like this, I don't want this. You can accept the current moment around you and not take on the energy, but accept it. This is the current moment. It's going to change. It has no power over me. It is not the energy I am taking on. Take on the energy of loveliness, of beauty, of warmth. Okay, next tip. We're going to let go of expectations in order to release resistance. Letting go of expectations is so important, because a lot of times you will judge obstacles and you will say, well, this is how it could fix. This is how it's possible to be fixed. and this is how I think it could happen. Now, mind you, it could happen in those ways, but you don't want to get attached that it has to happen in that particular way. And you also don't want to start judging the things around you as somehow being bad or somehow being wrong. If you're trying to attract a specific person and they don't call you on a particular day, then suddenly throwing in the towel and saying, well, this isn't working because they didn't do this at this particular time and it must be a bad indication. No, you don't want to see any bad indications. You only want to see good indications and indications of life supporting you, the world around you as coming together to bring about this perfect and beautiful result of the realization of the goals and the dreams that you have in mind. So you want to let go of your expectations that it has to happen in a certain way, and thus you don't judge anything as negative. You judge every single moment, even if it's seemingly negative and would get you in a bad mood and you'd be like, well, this sucks. Instead, see that every moment can have a silver lining. In my own life, I have noticed that things have manifested in the strangest possible ways, even when it appears that it's going downhill, when it appears to be a low point. It was actually a point that needed to happen in order to bring me to the ultimate goal. So really keep that in mind. So you are trusting that everything is going to bring you there. So releasing resistance is about letting go of these expectations that it has to happen in a certain way. When you decide that it has to happen in a certain way, it generally brings about this yucky feeling of feeling restricted because it's not happening in that way. So you feel this huge struggle. We want to release that and be open to all routes to the desire, because the universe knows the right and perfect, most efficient, best possible way to get there. All you need to do is trust, surrender, and believe. Now, how do you know that you have released resistance? You are going to measure this by how you feel. Ask yourself, do I feel calm? Do I feel at peace? Do I feel at one with the types of experiences I am seeking? Or am I waiting around? Am I wondering too much? Am I too down on myself? You can ask yourself by how you feel. I mean, it's really simple. How do I feel? Do I feel good inside? Do I feel a sense of weightlessness? Because think about it. When you get your goal, when you reach that goal, you are going to feel like the weight of the world has lifted off of your shoulders. Like you can breathe this huge sigh of relief. And it just feels so beautiful and so perfect and so wonderful. You can try to emulate that as much as possible. Now, you'll know when you've released resistance, when these struggles aren't becoming triggers anymore, where you're feeling good most of the time. You do not have to feel good 100% of the time, just most of the time, more than you are feeling that struggle, those obstacles, more than you are identifying with not having something. Now, releasing resistance can be fun. It can be easy. Any of the tips that we have mentioned can work. You can come up with techniques of your own, but know that releasing resistance is so important in getting that breakthrough, especially if you've been waiting for a breakthrough for a while. You want to bust through, you want to make it happen.